Ladies and gentlemen, live from the famous ACME Comedy Hollywood, it's Hollywood Stands Up, an evening with Robert Yasumura. Starring Robert Yasumura, Ron Babcock, Heather Thompson, music by Elementary, and your host, Darren CAPOZZI. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Darren CAPOZZI.
Yeah! Yes! Keep it going, folks. Nice. Welcome to Hollywood Stands Up. I'd like to welcome people at home watching or running to their computers right now to say, oh, he's on right now. How we doing? Give it up for this band. These guys are great. This guy, Shaun White on the drums. You know you look like Shaun White, bro. This snowboarder? Cool. Oh, okay, he speaks. Great. Got that going. I thought he was going to just mime me something. How we doing? We having a good day, folks? Huh? We having a good day? Yeah, I've had a weird day. You know, I just got a new job. Started working at this homeless shelter. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Barnes & Noble. Right? What's with all the people lying in the rows? It's bad enough I'm in the self-help section. I'm, excuse me, I just want to get the book Lonely and Depressed. Can I just grab that, please? I was hanging out with this girl today, and she was like, oh my God, I just can't believe it's hot today, but it's been so cold. It's just so freezing here in California. It's summer's over. She doesn't really talk that way, but that's how I make her voice. But I was like, it's not really, I grew up, anyone from the East Coast? East Coasters? I grew up in New Jersey. Do you guys want to know how, yeah, thank you, one person loves that. Do you know how cold it gets in the East Coast? I'll give you an example. You'll drop your house keys in the snow and be like, fuck it, I'll get a new house. I'm not even picking that up. Just went back to my 10-year high school reunion. And I forget about Italians. I went to a lot of Italians were in my high school. And the one thing about Italians from New Jersey, they can't remember any specific important date unless their sports team did something that year. For example, I'm hanging out with my buddy that I haven't seen in 20 years. I was like, hey, man, so how'd you meet your wife? He's like, how did I meet Vanessa? Ah, shit, let's see. It was World Series 2001, Game 7, Arizona versus the Yankees. Mariano was having the fucking hottest time closing, right? Next thing I know, it's a bloop single over his head. Bada bing, bada bang. Arizona wins the World Series. I'm at a strip club. That's where I met Vanessa. Any questions? Anyone got tattoos? One person got tattoos? Okay, it's good. We can talk about that then. I think tattoos are getting out of hand. I think people are confusing tattoos with journaling. It used to be simple back in the day. You used to get a heart or an anchor. I was watching that show, Ink, and this guy was like, hey, how you doing? What's this over here? That's a picture of the Golden Girls, season 1 through 5. This back here is the word beach because I go to the beach every weekend. Oh, this is my grandmother. She died in the 80s. That's why it says, I ain't afraid of no ghost. Can I tell you about a joke that I wrote today? That's awful. Do you guys want to hear it? Okay. This is while you guys work, this is the joke I wrote today. Ready? It's horrible. 50 Cent just got back from tour in Europe. Had a horrible turnout. They figured out why, because he was known as €0.2 over there. Not bad, right? You guys want another one? This is awful. Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock Holmes 2 is coming out this fall. Did you guys see the first one? Did you guys even see the first one? Then you're not going to get, okay, good. It's a good movie, right? You know what I really liked about the movie? How faithful it was to all the kickboxing I remember in the books growing up. These are keepers. Watching TV today is another one. I was at this interview with Sandra Bullock, and she looks right at the camera and she goes, everyone, get on with your lives. I'm better now. I'm moving on. I was like, get on with our lives. Sandra, we stopped getting on and caring about you after Speed 2. Don't keep that one? Don't keep that one? Okay. Don't keep that one? Okay, guys, I have a gift, okay? You guys want to know what it is? My gift is I pee next to really famous people. I'm telling you, all my life, I'm going to give you a short list of guys. Al Pacino, George Clooney, Rosie O'Donnell, couple dudes. And most recently, I peed next to David Caruso. Does everyone know who David Caruso is, CSI Miami? Okay, so I'll show you what happened. So here it is, it's like a two stall, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden he walks in. I'm like, oh my God, it's Caruso. My gift is amazing. Holy shit. So I look at him, and he comes next to me, and I go, hey man, I love your show. And he kind of does that thing that is on the show. He's like, thanks, guy. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how weird and creepy he is, and I can't believe his outside voice sounds like my inside voice. As I'm leaving, I'm like, yo man, kudos to you, love your show. At the urinal, he goes, hey guy, come here a second. So I was like, am I about to blow David Caruso? In my head, I'm like, I jerk him off for a guest spot. I haven't paid my SAG dues in like 2 years. As I get over to him, he pulls out his wallet. I'm like, okay, if he pulls out a condom, it's a go time. And inside his wallet, can you see what he gave? He had about 75 of these. It's a headshot from him, from CSI Miami. He laminates them and signs them Big D. I was like, whoa, yeah, right? I was like, yo, dude, I'm poor. You're in syndication. Give me $100. Fuck the autograph. So I blew Caruso. Hey, can we do this as a group? Can we stop putting our children's photo as our Facebook photo on Facebook? Can we stop doing that? It's weird and it's creepy, right? Like, my friend the other day, she had a newborn, and underneath her caption, she's like, look at my baby, she's a miracle. She's a miracle. Like, first of all, it's not a miracle if I know how it's done, okay? Second of all, I went online. Do you guys know how many babies are born a second around the world? 5. It's not a miracle. It's not a miracle. Want to know what a miracle is? It's my 23-year-old girlfriend coming home at 2 a.m. with an 8-ball of Coke and 2 of her slutty sorority sisters kicking open the bedroom door saying, we're going to fucking party or what? That's a goddamn miracle. One person does cocaine in the back left. Yeah, it's also a fantasy of mine because I do not have a 23-year-old girlfriend. And I've been doing a lot of online dating, folks. Okay? And most recently I met this girl, and we were perfect on paper. She was perfect. So I decided to have a date with her. First thing out of her mouth, so we walk up, have a coffee date. She's like, oh my God, seriously? You're so skinny. You are like manorexic. I was like, well, you got no tits. What's that make you? Bublemic? But she was hot, and I'm shallow, so I continued the date. So we're walking and we're talking past this McDonald's. I'm like, hey, do you want to go in there real quick and get something? She's like, oh my God, seriously? Do not tell me you eat or go in there. That's such the deal breaker. I was like, well, I think the deal breaker is when you called me manorexic about 20 minutes ago. But once again, I'm shallow and she was hot, so I continued the date. So I was like, no, I don't go in there. No, I don't do that. She's like, seriously, like, that's gross. Like, what's even on that menu? I was like, I don't know. Hamburger, cheeseburger, double cheeseburger, quarter pounder, double quarter pounder with cheese, Big Mac, bacon tasty with cheese, filet of fish, McChicken, McRib, premium chicken classic sandwich, grilled at crispy, premium chicken club sandwich, grilled at crispy, ranch snack wrap, grilled at crispy, honey mustard snack wrap, grilled at crispy, southern style crispy chicken sandwich plain. Half meal hamburger, half meal cheeseburger, half meal 4-piece chicken McNuggets. I mean, there's Mighty Kids meal 6-piece, Mighty Kids meal double cheeseburger. There's French fries, small, medium, large, chicken McNuggets 4 6-piece, chicken selects 5 3-piece. You know, so sometimes I like to get a drink: Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, High C, Power Water, Sonic Water, OJ coffee, and iced. But you know, if we get up early, we get some breakfast: English muffin, sausage muffin, egg, biscuit, bacon, egg and cheese, hot cakes with sausage, scrambled eggs, hash browns. So So, if you like dessert, you can get a fruit and yogurt parfait, kitty cone, apple dip, chocolate chip, a thick shake, vanilla chip, a thick shake, strawberry chip, a thick shake, McFlurry, McFlurry cookie, apple pie, McDonald's cookies on the fucking menu, you skinny bitch. Yes. You guys go to work and make money. I walk the streets memorizing McDonald's menus. Before I bring up the first person, I love Chinese food, guys. Okay, I love it so much. But every time I go to a new town, I have to go get some. But in every town, they're all the same. They're so nice to you when they take the order, but so mean to each other. So when you walk in, you're like, hey, can I get some chicken and broccoli and some brown fried rice? I'm like, oh yeah, chicken, broccoli, brown fried rice. This is a good order. You're a good dresser. You're really good. I thought it's a wonton soup. Really nice guy. I get that for you. What did I get that for? You're like, oh my God, I forgot to order a drink. He might kill him. All right, you guys ready to start the show? I'm ready to start the show. Are we ready to have a good time? Cool. You guys, this next guy, first guy you've seen, he's hilarious. He's been on Last Comic Standing, HBO's The Life and Times of Tim. Everybody, Ron Babcock.
To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Hollywood! Yeah, guys, that's right. I've been on HBO's The Life and Times of Tim. Ready? I swallowed it. That was my one line. Thank you very much. I'm going to try and parlay that into health insurance somehow. Don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, guys, Hollywood, welcome. I love the name of the show, like Hollywood Stands Up, and everyone at home is like, Hollywood. It's like this big thing. I live in Hollywood. It's terrible. It's not a nice place. Like, you know you live in a bad neighborhood when you actually have to step over human feces? How do you know it was human? Because it was coming out of one. I'm 32 years old. It's weird being 32 and not having accomplished as much as you wanted to. I remember I was on Wikipedia and I was reading a fun fact about Alexander the Great. Did you know that when Alexander the Great was 32 years old, he ruled the Ottoman Empire? I'm 32 and I don't even own a couch, let alone an Ottoman. My friend told me that joke was historically inaccurate, but I said, is the history of being adorable? I mean, am I right? There's one thing I got, it's charm, and that's it. Well, student loan debt. You know, I was thinking I could come up here and I could be like everybody else and tell funny jokes, or I could spend my time on stage answering a question. And I feel like in today's world we have a lot of questions, like when is this war gonna end? Are these protests that we're all doing ever gonna affect any real change, you know? And I was thinking I could answer a question that was always really plagued us. Through the beginning of time, we could answer it together. And that question is, of course, what really happened to the dinosaurs? I don't know, do you? I opened this book up, truth popped out. Got all over my jeans. So here we go. Ready? Some scientists think that dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, long before humans lived on the earth. But the Bible tells us the real story. The Bible tells us that God made the dinosaurs on day 6 of creation week, only thousands of years ago. Do you know who God also made on that day? Adam and Eve, our great-great-great-great-grandparents. Now, personally, I thought there were a few more greats in there, and I can detect some skepticism in the audience, and I too was skeptical, but then I saw photographic evidence that dinosaurs did indeed live with humans. Oh, Ron, wasn't that dangerous? No, because dinosaurs respected personal property because they're on the right side of the fence. You know the fence that Adam and Eve built when there was no need for it because there was just 2 of them? And then they built a dome. One of the most architecturally challenging concepts to render in the entire universe. Yeah, let's bust that out on day 6 of creation week. Oh, and here's a dog, for no reason. So the book goes on, and it says that when God first created dinosaurs, he told them that they could only eat plants. Genesis chapter 1, verse 30. See, that's what you do when you have an argument. You cite a source. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some pictures show dinosaurs eating meat. And dinosaur fossil teeth look like they could eat meat. No one really knows for sure, but eventually, some dinosaurs probably did eat meat. So you just said nothing. You took an entire paragraph to say absolutely nothing. You know, dinosaurs ate meat. I don't think they did. You know, probably. Hey, anyone have a pencil? I want to put that in a book. And on this shot, we have an action shot of Adam and Eve enjoying fruit in the Garden of Eden. And Adam obviously has a gym membership. Because, I mean, he looks great, right? Like, what machine at the gym gives you the diagonal back muscles? Like, and a beard trimmer. Look at how good that looks. I can't keep this as nice as that. And you think like, oh man, that must have been terrible though. All these dinosaurs and other animals, if they ate them, you know, they probably ate meat. You know, oh, it must be dangerous for them. No, because on this page, we have a picture of a horse and a dinosaur just playing. Just having like little fun games like cowboy and Indians in the Garden of Eden, which apparently ends on this page. So the book goes on. It's hosted, by the way, all children books, they always have a host. These two guys up front. And we have a close-up here as the guy from Guess Who and Shaka from Land of the Lost. And Shaka's wearing sneakers because you know how dinosaurs don't want to hurt their feet. So I don't know if you guys know what people think, but they always work Noah's Ark into this, you know, and that's what got rid of the dinosaurs. So here we have a shot of Noah telling everyone, hey, there's a flood coming. And what I love about this is that this guy thinks it's fucking hilarious. He's like, oh my God, me and Cindy, we went down to the temple to see Noah. So funny. He was great. You gotta go see him. It's really, really good. So we get to this next part, Noah's Ark, which for those of you who don't know is actually just a giant wooden office building without windows. Like I like how he couldn't draw it like we all know it, like where it looks like a boat instead of a box that looks like it stores God's shoes. But here we get to the logic behind everything. This is my favorite part. It says, God told Noah that some of every kind of land animal would come onto the ark. Genesis chapter 6, verse 19. Did God tell Noah not to take dinosaurs on board? No, so they must have been there too. Like, that's retarded, right? Like, can we all agree that that's what I call Saved by the Bell logic? Where you're like, did Principal Belding tell us not to have a party for Screech in his office? Then come on, cast of one-dimensional characters, quick, before our careers die. Hey, Rod, did you just do a creationist bit where you slam Saved by the Bell? Yeah, I'm pretty cool. So we get to the end of the world, right? And I don't know if you guys know any evangelical Christians, but they love this shit. Like, they go off on it. It's like the author said to the artist, like, hey, bro, gonna need you to go crazy. And the artist was like, bro, I'm on it. Bam! Ready. In this corner, tornadoes. In this corner, volcanoes. And then you'll have to look really closely, especially for everyone on the internet. But sir, you could vouch for me. Right here, we have the Loch Ness Monster. Just for fun. And then, to top it all up, a guy in the center just going, no! Like, this looks like a Styx music video. I mean, it is pure carnage. But if you look really closely, we look down here, and this just shows you how wrathful God is. And there's a guy climbing out of the raging waters trying to save himself. But then the artist was like, no, fuck you, I'm going to put a cougar right here to punish you for your sin. And I'm looking at him, right? And I'm like, blue shorts, green shirt, where have I seen this guy before? It's the guy who laughed at Noah. It's karma. So we get to the end. It talks about what really happened to the dinosaurs besides the flood. Afterwards, it changed the world. It was cold in some places, so those dinosaurs died, and then, you know, other ones couldn't find any more food, and then, you know, it got really hot. And then there was, like, you know, knights killing a dinosaur. So There's a knight killing it up. Hell, listen up. There is a knight killing a dinosaur. There's a knight. Like, this is a possibility, okay? Like, they're thinking, hey, there's a knight killing a dinosaur. Like, they're teaching people that this could happen. That King Arthur and his round table of knights just were walking around stabbing dinosaurs. It sure as hell wasn't evolution. That'd be crazy. 48% of Americans believe that the Earth was created 6,000 years ago, which negates the sciences of biology, chemistry, and physics. Nothing I believe in negates physics. Like, if you're going to be stabbing people over what you believe in, you should be able to prove it. Like, hey, I could prove gravity. Ready? Here, hand me your Bible. Drop. Oh, sorry, did stuff just get real for some of you? I recently did this bit in Nevada where it did not go as well. I was repeatedly told to get off the stage, faggot, which I did. It's weird though, because people always are like, Ron, you're attacking our beliefs, and I just want to say this in closing. I grew up Catholic, but I didn't grow up fucking retarded. All right. Thank you very much. I'm talking about that.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. Hey.
Ron Babcock, one more time to Ron Babcock. You guys, we're going to bring up your next performer, this female performer. She is a regular at the Hollywood Improv, and she's been seen at the Bridgetown Comedy Festival. Everyone, Heather Thompson.
Thanks, fellas. I love the ambiance. Give it up for the house band. Lovely. It's so rare to get something so fancy. I knew it would be a nice night tonight. That's why, I don't know if you can tell, but I've dressed up. For me, this is a lot of effort. Like, I don't want to break all illusions, but I can't wear my orthotics in these shoes. I can't at all. It's a very dicey game over here. I might just fall over. This bra has a wire in it. This is not the natural color of my eyelids. I'm doing this thing as a woman that I like to call, what happens if I try? What happens if I just put a little bit out there? Because I haven't always tried. Like, I haven't always worn makeup. I used to read a lot and not know anything about mascara. But I'm trying to try lately. Here's my problem with trying ever in life, is that when I try, I get very competitive. I like to win. Like, I don't like to, try and then hit middle ground. Like, I'm very like, I want the blue ribbon or I'm staying in my sweatpants. It's either valedictorian or just put me in prison. And as a woman, if you enter the ring, you're gonna get there and there's always gonna be another woman who's tried harder, who looks just a little bit better, And men aren't very practical about what you like sometimes. Like, I can do all this, but then I'll get there and there's a woman who looks like she doesn't even know what a stretch mark is, let alone she stayed up late at night Googling creams that might work on the internet. And she's wearing nothing but stilettos and a smile, And I'm like, oh, I know that's lovely, but look at me. I've got a sturdy build and I usually wear sensible shoes. In a crisis or the apocalypse, I can pick you up, throw you over my shoulder and run. Don't you get it, fellas? I'm the Volvo of women. I'm Swedish and you'll always be safe with me. Why won't you love me from my steel frame? I can give you an orgasm and help you move. There's nothing to not like. And I want to specify, I don't think I'm fat. I think that gets thrown around too much. I don't think I'm fat. I just think I'm the kind of gal where if you suddenly dropped me in an Eastern European country, I could really do a lot with a plow. Like I could strap a baby to each thigh and just be like, don't worry, the crops are coming in this year. Wouldn't be a problem. And I always struggled with it too, because like as a woman, sometimes you just want to be like so delicate and feminine. You want to be like this little bird that might just blow over if somebody talked too loudly. And then I did a women's self-defense course the other day. And the guy was like, practicing the moves with us, and he was grabbing some of my smaller, delicate female friends and just lifting them right up. And he went to grab me, and what I did was mostly on instinct and not pretty. But I brought us both to the ground. And And as it was happening, I thought, you know what? You're right. Damn straight. I haven't lived with this butt for nothing. I haven't cried in a Lane Bryant dressing room to be the kind of woman that you could grab easily, throw in a van, and abduct. I didn't wear a girdle to prom so you could just chain me up in your basement, okay? Everything has a silver lining. I love Lane Bryant. I always get my lingerie from there, and I don't think you can really call it lingerie anymore. But I looked at it one day because I was like, oh, it's probably got Lane Bryant on the waistband. I wonder if that's ever weird for a man. And then I looked at it, and it didn't say Lane Bryant anywhere on it. And I was like, of course, even Lane Bryant knows that's a cock block. I'm excited because I do have a lovely fella in my life right now. I'm very lucky. He's very sweet and he's very handsome. He's half black. Because you know what they say, the darker the meat, the more likely to be accepting of my body type. He is handsome, he's half black and he's British. And I'm really ridiculous about it. I'm like, ooh, we're just like Heidi Klum and Seal. Except you know I'm lame. Like, you know it, because there's no way Heidi Klum is sitting around going, oh, we're just like Heather and Al. He's so sweet, too. Like, he's the first guy I feel like I could really call a boyfriend. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've dated guys and had them ask for hand jobs before, but shoot for the moon, end up on the ground. This is like this is the first guy that I feel like has ever really wanted the cow, you know, if I was going to put it romantically. Moo. So I was really excited, and then he went back home to visit his family, and he tried to get back in the country. And they wouldn't let him back in. His visa wasn't good enough, I guess. And part of me is trying to be mature about that, because that's what happens when you fall for accents, and it's so bloody cute, the accent. But then this other part of me was filled with this rage. U.S. immigration, because you know what? I was like, I've been single 29 years. 29 years I've waited to find a nice guy. And he's really nice. Do you have any idea how patient and sensitive he is? Do you know how many times I cried in front of him in the first month of dating? 7! My body makes 2 things really easily, and that's yeast and tears. And it's not easy to keep a man. I'm like a bakery that's depressed all the time. You come for the sourdough, you stay for the ennui. I was so mad. And it's like before him, I just had a whole lot of wrong. Like, I remember one of the guys I was dating came to me and he said, hey, babe, I'd really like it if you cook naked for me with high heels on. And I thought, oh, that's ambitious because I have weak ankles and it's a long story, but I don't think I should use knives. Is there any way I could wear like flats and yoke pants, just microwave topless, and you could jerk off to that? You could have every man's fantasy or a burrito in a minute and a half. It's up to you. I don't know why, like, someone would come to me with sleazy stuff like that. Like, I'm like, clearly I look like the kind of girl who just likes a light fingering on major holidays. I don't know why you want to do these weird role-playing stuff. One of my exes still hits on me because this pussy's like a sweet bear trap. You never really get away from it, even if you dump it, because you think it's too neurotic. Very validating to still be hit on, and sometimes I wanna take him up on it. Like, I'm lonely and I miss what we once were, but I have to remind myself, like, he's not the guy who told you that he wanted to marry you anymore. Like, he's the guy who dumped you by just not calling you back, and then you saw him later, a couple months later at a party with a woman who was so much hotter than you that you had to convince yourself that you had more pizzazz in your personality just to make it okay. So I have to say to myself, sometimes hooking up with an ex is like the pet cemetery of hookups. It looks like your puppy, but it's not your puppy anymore. It's a weird thing filled with hate, and it died for a reason. I know it's a little dark. Am I the only one in here who gets sitting down in the shower sad? Sitting down in the shower sad is my favorite kind of depression because I know a couple of them and I love them, but to me it implies such hope. Like, you know, you got out of bed, you tried, you said, I'm gonna have a day, I'm gonna join the world, I'm gonna get clean, and then it's a good start, good for you. And then you got in there and you thought, well, you know what else I could do? I could just hang out in the bottom of my bathtub for a while. I know it's not great for the environment, but it takes a while to get clean when you're trying to wash the inside. I'm I'm a real bag of fun. I have depression, I have OCD, and I know it's popular to say you have OCD. Like, people say, oh, I'm so OCD, I like my socks and my headband to match. I'm like, oh, that sounds cute, because I have the kind of OCD where I'm like, if that car up there makes a left, I have a disease, and if it makes a right, the oven's on! All right, guys, that's been my time. I'm Heather Thompson. Thank you so much. Please give it up.
No, we're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy.
Yeah, one more time for Heather Thompson, everybody. All right, you guys ready for your last and final comedian of the night? Are we having a good time? One more time for the band. These guys are doing great. This next comedian, he is an alum of this very theater. He's a regular at Flappers Comedy Club and is a contributing writer and performer on the Jimmy Dore Show on KPFK Radio. Everybody, Robert Yasumura.
Okay. So, by the way, I was like, whenever they introduced me, I'm always like, Robert Yasumura just sounds like a terrible stage name, like just an awful name. So I've been thinking about changing it either to my real name, which is Moishe Yasumurowitz, or my new stage name, which is Bobby Jazz. I was, this is a big deal for me, so I wanted to get ready for this set. So I was watching videotape on myself last night, and which all stand-ups have to do. It's like football players have to do, only kind of gay. And so I'm watching videotape of myself, and I learned a couple of things by doing that. First of all, turns out my smile creeps me out. And that is a hard look in the mirror, people, when you realize that the thing you're using to express joy looks to you like a howler monkey posturing for dominance. The other thing I noticed was I am probably the last of my generation to still tuck in my shirt. And like today, I would like to untuck this shirt, but it is a onesie. I realized something watching myself on videotape. I realized something, which is if I ever end up in prison, I'm pretty sure my nickname is going to be the Professor. As in, hey, Professor, Ray get raped in that smart mouth of yours? Get a little dark for you? Get ready. Because I have one credo about stand-up. I want you to laugh, but I don't want you to feel good about it later. So, I'm getting ready for the set, and you have to go, if you're testing material, you have to go do open mics. I do a lot of open mics. And let me just tell you guys about it. I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain. Open mics in Los Angeles are called open mics for a reason. Because anybody can go. From the accountant who once got told he was funny, to the homeless guy who just wants to share. And if you've never been to an open mic in Los Angeles, I strongly suggest you go. If for no other reason than to appreciate all the rest of life. Like the smile on a child, or an unshared thought. I don't want to run down the experience, but because I've had good sets at open mics in Los Angeles, and that's not easy to do. And I've gotten off stage, and friends are like, "That's a good set," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, it was a good set." Go outside, I'm smoking a cigarette. Oh, I just had a great set. And then it dawns on me, at an open mic. I don't want to, that's still a hard thing to do, but having a good set at an open mic is kind of like giving a hooker an orgasm. Not an easy thing to do, but still, a hollow victory. I was at an open mic recently when a young lady, who probably was a model turned actress, whose manager told her, you need to be funny or interesting in some way. And she was on stage, and she said, hey, alcoholism looks like a fun disease. And I went, hey, cunt. Think alcoholism looks like a fun disease? I'll bet you wouldn't if you saw the treatment, which is hanging out in dimly lit rooms with pirate people. That's the thing, like, look, I'll cop to this. I have addictions, I have alcoholism, and if you don't understand that, God bless you, you shouldn't, okay? But if you don't try to relate to me. Because I've had people do that where they're like, I think I get it. Like, sometimes I'm eating pistachios and I just can't stop. And I'm like, really? Did you lose your most productive years of your life to pistachios? You ever suck dick for some really good pistachios? I need to say this just out front, like, I'm not a poster boy for not drinking. I am not, like, if you are out there and you need help and you didn't like my set, go get help. But I will also say, like, if you let a comedian stand between you and help, maybe Darwin is telling you something about your line of genes. But what if I was the poster boy for not drinking? What if it's like pictures of me like around town, like, stop drinking, be like this guy. Sobriety, the least cool thing you'll ever do. Ian, can I get some water? I'm sorry, I did not prepare and I'm like dry-mouthed. I wish that was funny. It isn't. So anyway, when I quit drinking, I was hanging out with a lot of people who also were quitting drinking and drugs. God bless you. And I was hanging out. I met this woman, and she was getting off of speed. And I'm not gonna lie, people. She might have been 30. She might have been 80. That was the woman who taught me that it turns out it's easier to talk to a woman with no teeth than 3 teeth. And so we got to be friends, and we exchanged gifts, and she actually gave me, I don't know if you guys, obviously you're not going to be able to see this too well, but she gave me this dragon pendant. And it's not my style, like, at all, but I'm kind of afraid to take it off because I've read enough sci-fi fantasy to know when the witch gives you a pendant, you fucking keep it. Because this may be the only thing that stops the wizard's curse. I like Heather. I don't want to blow your minds, but I've got a little depression going. And by the way, I've always had like a little bit of depression. I'm a commercial actor, and I can tell you the one role I've never booked, nor will ever book: guy having fun at a party. And by the way, I can talk about depression here because we're in a major metropolitan area. I'm guessing a few of you have gone to see the doctor who turns off the phone. Like, there are a lot of places in this country where if I say depression, they're like, hold on there, college, with your fancy emotions and such. We got 3 feelings around here: angry, drunk, and fucking. Everybody else lives in the shame attic. So I always had like a little low-grade depression. And then a couple of months ago, turns out I did not know how deep the rabbit hole went because I was down there with the mole people and the Vietnamese who don't know the war is over. And have you guys ever been to Venice Beach during the summer? Anybody? Yeah, it's more visited than Disneyland. And if you've never been, Venice Beach Boardwalk during the summer is just filled with like hippies and tourists and people in various states of undress. It is the only place I've ever left thinking, I hate all people ever, and yet I have an erection. So I preface that so you'll understand. My depression was so bad that it was getting to the point where They were going to later say of me, he was leading a quiet life of desperation. Then he got the gun. Then it became a loud life of desperation. Because I had a plan, and that plan consisted of going to Venice, shooting up a drum circle, then suicide by cop. So I finally got on medication. Thank God. Thank fucking God. The first thing they put me on was Wellbutrin. And it turns out, I found out from this medication, I have a little anxiety problem too. Because Wellbutrin caused me to spend an entire weekend lying in the fetal position on my bed, scrolling through every YouTube video of Agatha Christie movies I could find. Because it turns out, I find Caucasian people very comforting. So they took me off the Wellbutrin and put me onto Zoloft, and that seems to be working really well. I will say this though, if you've ever seen an ad for an antidepressant, they always say some sexual side effects. Let me explain what that means without getting too graphic. The train still works. I just have trouble getting the train to the station. You understand what I'm saying? The train can still become engorged with blood. I just have trouble causing ejaculate to come out of the train. So I take my medication every day, and then the other thing I do is I wake up and I look myself in the mirror and I say, you are a strong, beautiful black woman. And that seems to really help. And it's helping enough that I'm probably going to go back east in a couple of weeks just to see some people. I'm from Long Island, New York, which, by the way, automatically makes me a reservist in the Israeli army. So I'm going to go back and, I don't know, and the thing is, like, I go back east and I see friends and family, and they always are like, why are you living in Los Angeles? Isn't it terrible? Like, isn't it really shallow? Isn't it culturally bankrupt? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That is true. I will probably die a blithering idiot out here. But I'm going to die wearing a cotton t-shirt, people. I'm going to die comfortable, because we got some nice fucking weather here. Today was so nice, I went outside to masturbate. Shame to waste that, huh? But I like it when it gets like around now and things get a little colder, because I get to wear my clothes. And can I tell you guys something? Every stitch of clothing I am wearing right now is from the boys department at Brooks Brothers. And that is kind of emasculating, I'm not gonna lie. But it is hard to feel bad when you look like mommy's handsome prince, huh? Huh? I have to buy clothes at the boys department, not because I'm short, which I am. I don't know if you viewers at home can tell by scale, but I'm not a tall man. And but it's because I'm thin. And if you don't believe I'm thin, just trust me when I say, like, if I wasn't wearing a shirt right now, you could see the food moving through me. I recently had a body mass index test, and it turns out I am technically dead. Let me tell you guys a story about this. So I was down at the 3rd Street Promenade over the summer. I was just walking around, and I saw this woman walking towards me, beautiful woman in a sundress, and she looked up, and I caught her eye, and she caught mine, and she smiled at me, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, because here's the thing, people, when you're me, this 120 pounds of pure thunder, when you're me and a woman smiles at you, you fucking take that smile and you put it in the self-esteem hump. Because that's got to carry you through a lot of desert. But then it occurred to me, here's the thing about me. This isn't an isolated incident. I like to play dress up, okay? Like, I thank God every day I don't own a sailor suit, because I'd wear it. And so the day that this woman looked at me and smiled, I happened to be wearing a seersucker jacket and a bow tie. Because that day, I thought I was a Southern attorney. So it occurred to me, maybe that woman was smiling not because she was thinking, huh, what a handsome man, but because she was thinking, huh, retarded and gay. I get that a lot. I get people, because I'm slight and the way I dress, people are always like, are you gay? They'll be like, you wear a pinky ring, are you gay? And I'm like, no, this ring belonged to my mother, to whom I had an unnatural closeness. There's nothing better than humiliating death of a joke on live TV. This is all for naught. I have a girlfriend. Or at least I think I have a girlfriend, you know? Like, it occurred to me recently, like, I could be really crazy. Like, no one tells you you're fucking crazy, so what if I don't have a girlfriend? What if it's just like one of my mom's old dresses draped over a chair, and every night I feed it soup? I think I have a girlfriend, and she's pretty awesome. I was once asking her, like, would you take my last name if we ever got married? And I should explain one thing. My girlfriend's a fairly tall, Irish, Germanic-looking woman named Shannon Smith, because I like them white. I like them white. If I ever end up single, just between you and me, I'm going to start hanging out at skin cancer clinics, because that's where my ladies are at. Because if I could date translucent women, I fucking would. And by the way, I went to Portland, Oregon, a couple of years ago, and man, if they got some white women up there, hello! Like down here, it's kind of United Colors of Benetton. Up there, you will find more diversity in a Jane Austen novel. And by the way, the women in Portland are white and depressed. Oh, look at you. When I see depressed women, I'm like, less work for me. Come here. But anyway, so I asked my girlfriend, I was like, would you take my last name? And I should clarify one last point, which is, my last name is Yasumura, which translates literally from the Japanese to vegetable village. So she said, would I take your last name? Would I become Shannon Yasumura? Yes, I would, she told me, but only to be funny. She's pretty great. She's pretty awesome. She's a lot of her extended family is from the South Side of Chicago. And I don't know if you guys know anything about the South Side of Chicago, but the racism there is, that is some great racism. And she was once like, do you want to come to this family reunion with me? And I was like, not so much. I'm a little ethnic over here. And she was like, yeah, but they wouldn't say anything to your face. I now I'm like ingrained in that family and they're wonderful people. I will say this though, my girlfriend has 4 cousins who are giantesses. All women, all over 6 foot. They're just huge. And whenever I see them at a family function, I have to do everything in my power not to run up to them and go, up, up. We have a dog. I have a dog mainly because I am a vacuous hole that desperately craves love without intimacy. And I have a puppy-sized hole in here. That's what I'm saying. And by the way, to be fair, my dog does love me. She loves the hell out of me. But also, to be fair, my dog doesn't really know anyone else. So, might be Stockholm Syndrome more than actual love, but I will take it. That's a weird thing, like adopting a dog in Los Angeles, because we live in a very crunchy granola kind of city, and so the people who run pet adoption places are really concerned that the dog is going to a good home. So like I had to go through this, not only like a long questionnaire, but also a like half-hour interview with this lady, and she's asked me really personal questions like, you know, how much money do you make, and what's your home life like, and da-da-da. And she finishes up after half an hour of this, and she's like, so you have any questions for me? I was like, yeah, so now we're gonna fuck, right? Because I don't have this conversation with somebody without inseminating them. So I immediately, one of the first things they tell you when you have a dog, you take them to a dog park to socialize that dog. I took our dog, Bambi, little female dog, took her to the dog park, and we get inside the gate, and the first thing she does is push herself up against a wall, tuck her tail underneath herself, and just refuse to look at any of the other dogs. And I was like, wow, you are my dog, because you are socially retarded. And just as I was saying that, she and another dog went off and formed a drama club. I walked the dog around. Let me explain something to you guys so you'll understand. You do comedy a lot. If you're around it a lot, you just kind of get bored with it. Like, because jokes, just after a while, you're like, all jokes are roughly the same. So what happens is that if you're a comedian, you get fascinated by two things: the stupidest things and the most wrong things. The stupidest things, let me give you an example of that. Here's something. I could do this for hours. This endlessly amuses me. Now imagine me doing it nude with a tool belt on. And then the most wrong things that fascinate, like let me put it this way. I've genuinely found myself thinking, how can I make this dead baby joke racist? So please bear that in mind when I tell you that sometimes I'll be walking the dog and she'll go up to a person and be sniffing them and wagging her tail, and I'll say, oh, she must smell the cancer. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. So, we have a house together. My girlfriend and I own a house. Or rather, I should say, she owns a house. I clean it. Because she has something called a work ethic. And so, I'm basically a house husband. And by the way, that is a good gig. I'm not going to lie, people. Like, if you're ever at career day and that booth is there, if you like masturbation and Sudoku, line up at that booth. And I'm into it. Like, I'm pretty into the cleaning, like almost to the point where after cleaning my house for a year or two, I realized, hey, I might have a little OCD. And by that, I mean I might have OCD. To the point where, well, here's how my day goes. I usually try to do all the cleaning that needs to get done early in the day so I can spend the rest of the day pleasure cleaning. I'm like into being a homeowner. I dig it. And like last year, around this time, we were coming up on the holidays, and it was our first year in the house, and I wanted to make it special. So right before Christmas, I went to Home Depot and hired a couple of Mexican fellas to come do a live nativity scene on our lawn. It's pretty great. I'm going to tell you guys something. The holidays are coming up, and I got to tell you, the holidays have been consistently easier since Mom died. Yeah, I fucking said that. Get a little horrified? That's the thing. People are like horrified. They're like, how can you say that about your mother? I'm like, I loved my mother. I didn't, you know, I would rather some of my prime child rearing years hadn't coincided with some of her prime menopause years. But, you know, I learned to talk to a woman through the bathroom door, so that's a skill. And like people are just polite. Their immediate instinct is like, oh, your mom died? I'm sorry. And I'm like, why are you sorry? Unless your name is Jack Daniels or Philip Morris, you did not kill my mother. So anyway, I was actually the person who went and picked up her ashes back east where she was living, and they don't give them to you in an urn anymore. They give them to you in like a bag in a box, and it's a really nice fucking box. It's like this robin's egg blue gift box. Like they gave it to me. I was like, oh, for me? Oh. And thankfully, no one has invited me to a wedding since, because it's entirely possible they would have gotten a gravy boat in the former domicile of my mother, because it's that nice a fucking box. So then I'm walking out with this box, and there's a certificate on the top of it that says, these are the cremated remains of Lee Yasumura. But it doesn't say cremated remains, it says cremains. Boy, there's something that was calling out for lingo, for a buzz term. Like, what was the problem? Was the ashes not moving? Were people like, oh, cremated remains just sounds awful, but cremains, what? That sounds futuristic and intriguing. So, and by the way, I actually recently spread my mother's ashes, largely just to declutter. There was a box set of The Sopranos needed a home, so I went to spread her ashes in the woods of Cape Cod, which was per her wishes. Like, I'd had a conversation with her a few years before she died where she was like, I want you to spread my ashes in the woods of Cape Cod. And I was like, oh, really? Really, Mom? Really? You, for whom, like, going through the East Village of Manhattan without booze is roughing it? In death, you're Sacagawea? All right. Made me realize what I want done with my ashes. I want to have them spread the way I live, so I want my ashes spread in a warm, well-lit room with the TV on. So anyway, I went to spread the ashes, and here's something you can only find out by doing it. Turns out, human ashes float. And I did not know this. And I was someplace I was not supposed to be spreading ashes. I was in a federal park. And so I was terrified that at any moment a park ranger was going to come around the corner, find me standing in a canoe with a paddle, furiously stirring the water as if to make some sort of human-flavored crystal light. All right, good enough. Good night.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us at the famous ACME Comedy Hollywood for Hollywood Stands Up, an evening with Robert Yasumura.